You're listening to Bookin Around Town with Jacques on the audio flow.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bookin Around Town. I am your host Jacques, and as always, I am excited to be here with you guys. Today we are booking around the town of Santa Rosa. I've never been there before, but I know that pretty much most of the towns and cities in California is beautiful. So we'll learn a little bit more about Santa Rosa and about today's guest. Please help me welcome USA Today bestselling author Lili Valente. Hi, Lili.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm excited to be here with you today. It's my first time, so
Yay.
Please be gentle.
I'm always gentle. We like to take our time with newbies because, it's all about popping the podcast cherry. So
Totally.
I'm so glad that I could be your first. Now, I did say your last name correct, right? Because I'm like, is that,
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Valente.
Valente. Okay.
Totally.
Okay, good. And so we are in the month of December. Everybody, actually, we're in November and we are pre-recording this podcast. But for my sake, we're saying December because you are the last podcast guest that I have for the entire year. So look at that.
Well, I'm honored, and it's really chilly here today in California. My toes are slightly numb, so I can pretend it's December for sure.
Really? It gets cold like that in California?
It does.
That's so weird because nobody thinks of California being chilly unless it's the northern part. So I'm assuming Santa Rosa is northern California, maybe?
Yes, we're up above San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Now, are you originally from California?
I'm originally from Arkansas, but I've kind of lived all over.
Okay. Oh, well, that's nice. I love it. I was reading a little bit about your bio, of course, and I saw a little bit about traveling abroad in Greece and France and things like that. So, do you have a favorite place that you like to travel to that you, if you could go there every year, that you would?
Oh my gosh, that's such a wonderful question. I really, really loved rural France and Italy, but I haven't been able to travel as much in recent years because I have kiddos and they like to go to school and stuff, or the government makes me send them to school, so it cuts into our travel time. But
Oh man,
yeah,
darn, bummer, darn kids. No, just kidding.
that's all right. They're worth it.
Of course. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show because there's so many things that I kind of want to talk to you about. And for those who don't know, I will tell you that I actually found you probably through a Facebook group when I started really getting into audiobooks and noticed that you were writing kind of these hockey romance stories.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I found you. And of course, I looked at the covers first before I found anything else. And so that's kind of what grabbed me a little bit. But so tell us a little bit about your journey into writing. And did you always know, or did you decide that you wanted to write romance? Did you ever want to write another genre before you settled on writing romance?
Well, actually, I did write under another pen name. I wrote young adult a long time ago, but I kind of keep that separate from my Lili pen name. Well, and growing up, I always wrote like really bad poetry, and I tried to write my first romance novel when I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow. What kind of romance was that? I wonder.
Well, it was like, I think you have to say 80s inspired, because I had been, I would read everything I could get my hands on, and I'd run out of books one winter break when we were all trapped inside in the snow. And so I ended up stealing some of my mother's romance novels from under her bed and reading them. And I was hooked immediately. So I would keep sneaking downstairs and stealing them from under her bed and reading them. And then I was like, oh, I love this so much. I want to write one of these. So I started writing one in second grade, and I had a journal, and I got up to like page 20 or 25, and then my student teacher read over it, and she called a conference to talk to my mother. because I had a little girl that was she was cross dressing so that she could learn to be a blacksmith in the 1800s, and then she was falling in love with her the other person that was being an apprentice with her. So they hadn't done much kissing yet, but they were getting there. So I think my student teacher was a little concerned
Oh
that an
my
8-year-old was having these people kissing around in her book. But yeah, so that's how I started, and then I got detoured along the way, and I ended up getting a degree in acting and doing that for a few years. And then I came back to writing as a way of being able to be creative whenever I wanted to, not whenever someone else told me I could. With acting, it's so hard. You have to wait till someone casts you in a role or writes the role you want to play. And with writing, you can just let your imagination go and tell the stories you want to tell.
Yeah, and the funny, okay, so I gotta go back to 8-year-old you and writing your
She was a mess.
steamy. Yeah, do you still have that journal?
I do not. I think my mom might have it somewhere.
Ah, that would be interesting. So I wonder how that conversation went though. I mean, was your mom like, well, she's just very creative and yeah, she probably picked up one of my books and I don't know that
Oh
I would-
no, it was more like my mom was very upset. She didn't realize what I'd been doing, and so once she found out I was cut off from my supply, I was like, but that didn't stop me. I just figured out new ways to get them because once you're hooked, you're hooked. I was like, I don't want to go back to reading Dr. Seuss. I want to read these like exciting stories, and they were all historicals back then. In the
uh-huh.
late 80s. So they were exciting just because they were set in different time periods, and
Hmm.
I learned a lot about just cultures from the past from reading them too. It was I would say it's educational in many ways.
It definitely was educational, and I just think it's so interesting that you were doing this type of historical thing. And actually, that sounds like a good book. And I'm thinking you might need to pick that back up, and now you can actually get to the part where they kiss and do. I'm just,
Yeah,
it's okay for you to do that now.
I know. If I ever write historical again, I
If you,
did that once in the past. It's pretty intense because people want you to get it exactly right.
That's probably why I wouldn't do well writing that either because I'm not big on history or math. So leaving both of those things out of the context in a book probably makes sense.
I hear ya.
Okay, so you decided to go on this journey and go into writing romance and some a little bit dirtier than others.
Hmm.
And so, about when did you publish your first book? And in your mind, was it good? Because this is a question I have to ask because I get so many answers of people saying their first book sucked.
Um, I think that's a good answer and an honest answer because if you're doing any kind of art, right, I think you're constantly growing and pushing yourself and trying to make every project or piece better than the one before. So it makes sense that if a significant amount of time has passed from, your most recent work to your first work, that it can kind of be a shock to go back and look at those older things.
Hmm.
Um, I actually recently got the rights back to one of my old young adult books that I wrote over a decade ago, and I definitely it was my first published book, and I was so happy and so excited, and it wasn't bad, but I could see now from a distance of building my craft for over a decade since then. I could immediately look at it and see where it could have been made stronger. You
Hmm.
know, just things I could have fixed, I could have improved on. But there's also sometimes a freshness to those early books that's exciting. That
Hmm.
it's because I think people when you first start out writing a book is not easy. It's hard just to get through the whole thing, just to get
Hmm.
from the beginning to the end. So you have to have a lot of passion, I think, to get that done. And when you do it for the first time and it's so scary and there's so many things you don't know how to do. And so when you finally get it done and those first pieces are such a work of love and dedication, to something that's scary. So I think I like reading people's first books because I think there's something special about those too, as well as, books that are a little more finely tuned.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Are so many people I chat with about their first book, and it's just something about that first one where it shows that they put a little something extra into it because they have their reason about, why they published it. And then, over a period you can see how their writing style changed and everything. But so do you have any, so you got your rights back to your previous books when you were writing YA. Any chance that you would go back in and maybe correct some of those things, or are you plan on doing anything with those books right now?
I'm not sure about that, but I also write as Jessie Evans, and I have a couple of her older projects that I published maybe 4 years ago that I
Hmm.
am thinking about maybe, pulling them apart and maybe expanding them and maybe trying to like put some of that Lily heat into the story and
Uh-huh.
seeing what I can do with it because, yeah, I just was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, there's no reason that something that was, in the past that maybe didn't get the audience I would have hoped for it to get, or, didn't get eyes on it, doesn't mean that it's something I have to forget about and toss
Right.
aside. I can um, revitalize and revamp and maybe experiment with that a little bit. So that's an interesting question that you ask, because that's been on my mind.
Yeah, see how I just brought that up? That was your confirmation for you to just.
You're the voice of the universe
I
speaking to
am.
me.
Well, I'm glad that I could be of service to you today.
Thank you.
If you don't learn anything else today, you learn that you'll go back and add a little Lily heat to Jesse's books. There we
I
go.
think so.
I'm all
Done.
about it. So now I'm going to be looking for the Jesse books to add to my collection.
Oh, good.
Is that okay?
Of course.
So let's talk about what's been happening with you this year. We've got a lot of books that are released this year and some that are releasing later on before the year ends. So what's it been like? How are you balancing getting all that writing done? Because you write really, really quickly. And so I'm just wondering, do you have it all planned out about what you're going to write, or do you sit in front of the computer and it just comes to you and you're like, book one, done, bam, book two, bam, because I want to
That'd
know
be
what the secret
nice
is.
if it worked like that. No, like I said, I've been published for over a decade, and I've been writing for about 15 years. And when I first started writing, I read Stephen King's book on writing, and he talked about his daily word count. So I just decided when I read it, like, well, if it's good enough for Stephen King, it's good enough for me. So I'll just
Yeah.
get my butt in the chair, and I'll make 2,000 words every day. And so that's what I started with. And then over the years, I've sometimes if I'm going through a really smooth, kind of life period where there's not a whole lot of other things going on, then I'll up it to 3 or 4,000 a day, and I can usually get that done before I have to pick my kids up at school. So yeah, I have a daily word count, and sometimes I sit down in the chair and it comes out, like butter, and it's so fun, and then I'm done by 10 a.m. and I go live my life, and then sometimes I'm still working on it at 7:45, 8 o'clock after my kids go to bed, and I just try not to let the sun set without getting my words done, unless there is something, totally unforeseen that happens. And I think that's just, the secret of it is to make it a daily practice, and also to enjoy what you do. So that's why I've moved away from some of the really steamy things that I
Hmm.
used to enjoy writing. And I just kind of have wanted more humor and levity in my
Hmm.
life. So I've been writing these silly, sexy hockey books, and I'm just so in love with these guys on this team, and they're so funny and they're so warm and loving and great with their ladies. And it's really just been a pretty enjoyable writing year, just to be with this team and these people, and just enjoying playing pretend with them. So
Well, that's fun. So, how many books do you think are going to be a part of the kind of I guess the hockey. I don't know if it's really is it really a series because they're all standalones, or how many people on the team? I don't know a lot about hockey. I don't know if you're going through the whole team. So it's like how many books should we expect in that whole branding?
well, they are all standalones, but they're also connected within this, this universe of this team and this. the imaginary team, the Portland Badgers that I made up.
Mhm.
So I'm doing at least one more. Book 5 will be coming out this summer, and I'm taking a little bit of a break before I write that one because I had another story that was just really calling to me and really wanted to be written first. And I kept trying to make myself focus on other projects, and this one just kept saying, "No, write me now." And so I'm like, "Okay, fine, project." And so I said, "If you're going to come out easy, then I'll write you first." And so I sat down, and it's been incredible. I've written like 5,000, 6,000 words a day every day since I started it. So obviously, it was a truthful story when it said that it was ready to come now. So I'm glad that I listened to it and let it move up in line. And that's the Baby Maker that'll be out in February. So I'm really excited about that one.
That sounds
Um,
fun, and how appropriate that you're using terms like "it was ready to come out," and it's all sounding like this
I
whole
know.
birthing process.
It was. It was ready to be born. Totally. That's funny.
And so we'll expect that in February. And is there going to be some comedy in there as well? I'm pretty sure it is because
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
enjoy that now.
Yes, it's a steamy rom-com for sure. I've kind of moved away from some of the steamier stuff, except for my holiday novellas, which I do have one of those coming out next week, I think. Jeez, yeah, next week. It's Snowbound with a Billionaire, and it's just steamy and naughty, and just a little Christmas morsel. So something to steam up your December before you go wrap presents or whatever. I love that myself
Every
during like busy times when you're always like busy with the family, to having just
hmm
something like short to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so this episode is going to air in December. So that means all of you that are listening to this book is now available. So Snowbound with the Billionaire is will be available by the
It
time
is
you
going
hear
to
this
be
episode. So
absolutely. It's going to be available in ebook and paperback, and a really, really sexy audiobook with Aaron Mallon and Lance. So
yes.
yeah, they
Did
killed
you
it.
know
It's
that Erin Mallon was like my favorite female narrator? I
I
just tell
did
you that.
not know that, but she's one of my very favorites too. She is just incredible, and I love the way she connects with a story and
Mhm.
just owns it. You feel
She
it right from her
does.
heart. Love it.
She's the sweetest person. And yeah, I would say I have about 3 audio besties, and she's definitely one of them that I talk to very frequently. And Lance Greenfield,
Yes.
he is awesome, and I love to listen to him and some other books that he's done. So I'm probably gonna get this on Kindle, but then I'm going to enjoy it on audio just because
Oh, good.
it's better listening to them tell the story than me in my head listening to my own voice read the words. It's not the same.
I hear you. I hear you. They
Not the
definitely bring a lot to the process.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I will be ready to hear that. Of course, by the time this episode goes live, you all will know that I've listened to it and you'll see me commenting about that. So, be sure you tune in and you follow what I'm saying, that you need to make sure you have this in your repertoire. So, all right. So, your year is wrapping up with a project that you worked on with Lauren Blakely, who is
Yes.
another fan favorite of mine, who I kind of call her the queen of rom-com because I love the men in her books. I mean, I just love her writing. It's great. And so now we're
Totally.
getting both of you guys together in the V card. And I just gotta know, like, how did this collaboration come together? What was kind of that thing that made you guys say, you know what, we should write a book?
Well, Lauren and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Before either one of us was indie published, we were friends, and we would meet up in different writer circles. And we are both crazy, hyperactive, full of energy workaholics. So one of our favorite things to do together are to work on things together. So I'm always calling her for advice and talking about projects and brainstorming ideas and things like that. And we got together for lunch, and we were just talking about stuff, and we were like, yeah, we should do something. And she's like, yeah, we should. And then we just decided to do it. Well, like, let's give it a try. We'll dive in and see if we can do it. And we ended up, I think it took us 2 weeks, and we banged out this draft, and we had so much fun. And then we've been editing it and proofing it and getting it ready for audio. Sebastian, York, and Andy are going to be doing the audio for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just amazingly smooth, because I've co-written with people before and had really good experiences with it. But usually it takes like a book or two to really find your groove and to make it work. And it was just really interesting. We worked very smoothly together, and we worked in all kinds of different ways. So like sometimes she would send me some ideas, and then I would incorporate those ideas, like sort of like a script into a scene. And then sometimes she would write something, and then I would edit it, or I would write something and then she would edit it. And then sometimes we would both write the same chapter at the same time, kind of passing it back and forth. So it was kind of every way you could work together, we did, and it all went very smoothly. And it was really great. So,
Well, you know what? I'm stuck on the fact that you said you guys wrote this book in 2 weeks.
yeah.
And
Because we're both crazy. So.
Yeah, obviously it's like, okay, 1, when do you sleep? 2, when do you eat? Did you go to the bathroom, or did you just sit there? I mean, these are things I think about. It's like, okay,
call it diaper writing.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's a new hashtag, diaper writing.
Diaper writing. You're really into it. You're just not going to get up. Like I said, we're both, we've both been writing for a very long time, and we've known each other for a very long time. And I actually, sometimes I did, work a really long day, but we live near Santa Rosa, California. So we were evacuated for part of the wildfires that were sweeping through here in October. So it was weird. Like one day I was running from fire, and I managed to get her on the phone, and because the cell towers were all down. So I got her on the phone. I said, "Hey, we're okay. I'm driving to Oakland. We're going to get a hotel. Just want you to know I'm going to get my words done." And she's like, "You're crazy." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to get my words done. This fire does not win, Lauren." And she's like, "Okay, you go, girl." So I went to Oakland, and we checked into a hotel after, he ran from the fire, and I got my words done. So it's just, I think it's a mixture of being a little bit crazy and also just finding, the work you love. It's like, it's not only something that's fun for me, it's something that gives me comfort in times of stress. It's a place where, I can just be comfortable, because I know that's, and no one's going to set fire to my story unless I do it,
Right. Right. And I will say that the nice book cover that goes with the V card is definitely a helper. I'm totally staring at the book cover right now as we speak.
Yeah, Lauren found that picture because she has a special finding hot guys gift.
Yeah, she's all about those abs. I always say your books are absolutely gorgeous. And but that's not to sleep on your book covers. Like I said, I've been staring at those too. I'm a total cover whore. Book cover, I should say, not covers like on the bed or anything. But I that's a whole different podcast there, people. But I enjoy when covers go with the story and aren't just, I'm just gonna show a naked guy up there for no reason, and it doesn't really go with anything. And you guys have this creative concept that the picture choices work with the story. So it's not that it doesn't work. And so again, I think in her group she asked what people love most about this book cover. And of course, I told her about this V, and she said you had a similar thought, that the V on the cover, it reminds me of a fallopian tube. I'm not even gonna lie. Like
I said it. I told her, I'm like, the V reminded me of like a woman's legs, kind of like spread, but it just looks sexy. It looks like a naughty V, but I like it. I think it fits, but then it's pink, so
it's a naughty V.
It's not too naughty. It's just like a fun naughty V.
Yes, that's what we're gonna go with. Yeah. So so again, this book releases on December 13th. Now, do we know if the audiobook is gonna release around the same time, or will it be a little bit after?
I think we're going to have simultaneous release. So everything will come out on the 13th,
Oh,
ready to go.
that sounds good. So, everybody, you've got some holiday reading and some holiday listening from a Lily that's coming. So, you've got her books that are released, that the book that released in November, which is Snowbound with a Billionaire. And then you also have the V card, which is co authored with Lauren Blakely. And so, you guys will be all set for Christmas. So speaking of Christmas, okay. There are two kinds of
Yes.
people, and I just need to know which category you fit into. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Thanksgiving is here, right? So November is Thanksgiving. Is your tree up before Thanksgiving, or do you wait till after Thanksgiving to put up Christmas decorations?
We wait until after Thanksgiving dinner is over, and then that weekend following Thanksgiving is when we like to put up the tree. And if we are in California, we lived here for a while first, and then we were living elsewhere for a while. But then we like to go to the Schultz Center and go ice skating. So that's kind of
Oh,
how we welcome in the holidays.
that sounds good. So I'm going to give you this nice cheer because I love when people actually wait and let Thanksgiving have its day before they decide they want to do the whole Christmas thing. So thank you. Thank you for letting Thanksgiving have its day first.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. So, okay, second question. So, you've got your holiday decorations up and everything. Now, are you taking the tree down in December or are you taking the tree and the decorations down in January?
We usually take the tree down like right before the kids go back to school. So like January 3rd or January 4th. We let it linger. We let everybody enjoy it. And then it's time to get back to business when the kids go back to school and
Exactly.
clean it all up.
Well, good because someone told me they keep it up till February, and I just can't agree with. I just can't accept anybody
No.
keeping up decorations. After January 5th, it's time to let it go. It's gone. We're in the new year, so just get ready for the next Christmas. That's how I
Yeah,
think
I
about
mean,
that.
I try not to judge people, like I want to be a judgment-free zone, but if
I'm
you've got your tree
judging.
up in February, we need to have
Nope,
a talk because
I'm
it's an
judging.
intervention.
I'm judging. I'm judging you for having your decorations up too long. I can't. I'm sorry.
I hear you.
Okay, so any traditions that you guys celebrate or have for the holidays? That can be Thanksgiving, Christmas, something you guys look forward to every year.
Every year. Well, we like to have, see, we're a Halloween family. So we have so many traditions around Halloween. But usually on Thanksgiving, we just like to spend the whole day cooking. And we have some turkey hats that look like they're stuffed turkeys that we
Uh-huh.
will wear for most of the day. And so we just like to make things fun and to,
But you do
spend
have a
time together.
tradition. You do have a tradition of putting up your decorations and then going ice skating, which I think is a lot of fun. Now, are you good at ice skating, or are you just kind of I put on the ice skates and I look pretty?
I'm adequate. I'm adequate on the ice skates, but my husband grew up in Pennsylvania in a small town playing hockey.
Uh-huh.
So he's my hockey guru for all my hockey books,
Uh-huh.
and he is incredible on the ice. And I was telling him like if ever we're having trouble in our marriage, we should just go ice skating, and you should skate backwards around the rink for a while because he's like super amazing on his skates, and that's so sexy. So that always reminds me. I'm like, yeah, you are pretty. You're pretty smoking, hubby.
So I forgive you. Everything is all right in our world now because I just saw you do a figure
Skate
eight.
backwards. Yeah, totally.
That's how you keep marriages fresh. He needs to learn how to skate or do some good with some sport or something, and it just kind of balances everything out.
Yeah, totally. It's like seeing the person that you love exercising mastery over something, where
Uh-huh.
they've put in the work and they've put in the dedication to become really excellent at something. It doesn't even really matter what it is, It's just like that's just taught, Someone who has that discipline and the passion and the just the
Yeah.
dedication to achieve mastery. So I'm
I
like,
bet
yeah,
he feels that way about you too as an author because look what you've done in the last I know you keep saying decade. That sounds like I don't know. We just say years because decade is like 10, 15 years. I mean
10 years, yeah.
it kind of makes us date ourselves a little. So, yeah, I don't want to use the word decade. Find me
Okay.
another word, Lily.
My life's work.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go.
But yeah, my husband is very appreciative of my work ethic and dedication, but he's mostly appreciative of my ass. I mean, if we're really gonna tell the truth here, he's a butt man, and
Okay.
he's mostly concerned about that.
I'm trying not to laugh too hard since I'm in the library, and but I'm in a study room and I'm like, there's a little person out there doing something,
Oh
and I want.
no,
But
I'll
as
keep
long
it clean then.
no. As long as you keep that up, I'm sure he's very appreciative. So thank you for sharing that little tidbit with us about
Secrets to a happy marriage, for sure.
it's squats. Just do your squats,
Squats.
everybody.
Stair climber. There you go.
Squats save marriages. There you
Right.
go. Oh my gosh. Well, I have been so honored to have this chance to chat with you. See how easy that was? Don't you feel good?
You you made it very easy. Thank you so much. You were just a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh,
Very
thank
easy and
you.
fun.
Well, I hope to have you back on the show again. And next time I'm somewhere in the area, in Northern California, we have to get together and have lunch or something. I'm
Absolutely.
Yes, we're gonna make that happen. I'm all about booking around town for real and not just in at the library booking around town virtually. So we'll make
Mhm.
that happen, and
All right.
I'm sure you'll have written maybe 6 or 7 books by the time I see you. I mean,
It could happen. Could happen.
it should. So before we go, anything that we can expect from you outside of the book that's going to be releasing in February, what's your schedule look like for books, and also if you're going to be attending any events that we should be aware of?
Well, like you said, I've got the Baby Maker coming out February 5th, and super sexy rom-com. I'm excited about that. And I'm going to my first indie signing in Sacramento. That's also in February. I think the 9th, maybe. I'm like, I don't have my calendar with me, but it's the 50 Shades themed signing. So there's gonna be 50 authors, and then we're gonna sign, and then we're gonna go see the movie. So I'm so excited because I've never been able to go see the movies with anyone else. I've always had to go by myself and be like the
Oh my
creepy lady
gosh, that sounds so
in the movie
fun.
theater. Yeah, so I'm super excited. Yeah.
Have
And
you
then
seen the trailer?
and then I've got some other
Wait,
stuff.
have you
Oh
seen the
yes.
trailer?
Absolutely. I love the songs that they come up with, like the way they cover,
Yeah,
the old 80s songs, and they do them all sexy and like dark. I'm like, I
yeah,
love it. Love it.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So, yeah. And then I'm just writing some more. I've got another book coming out in April, the start to a new series. And then I'm going to have one more of the hockey books coming out in the summer. And it's just going to be a fun 2018, I'm hoping.
It sounds like it. So I'm going to have to find you at one of these events. And is there any way that I can find out if you add additional events to your calendar? How can we keep up with you either online or social media?
Well, you can always follow my Facebook page, which is author Lili Valente. I try to update that regularly, and I have a newsletter that I send out usually only once or twice a month, or just whenever I have a new release or something like that. But I don't anticipate adding too many more events. I'm pretty, a home girl. Let's just stay home most of the time. So when I do venture out, it'll be exciting and fun for me, and then I'll retreat to my cave to hide and make more books.
So that means I'm really gonna have to come to California and see you then, since you are type a homebody. You can't be
Right.
see, this is the thing with authors. You guys are so um fun that you like to be fun at home in the house in front of the computer writing.
Well, it's where we make room for our imaginary friends to come, you know?
Okay,
You
I'll
got to
give
have
you
a
that.
quiet place.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will let you have that. That's fine. But I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you at some point. Everybody, please be sure that you go by and visit Lily on her Facebook page. I also am subscribed to your newsletter because I won a book. I don't even remember how I won. I won a book from an event, I think, and I saw my name in the newsletter. I was like, oh my God, I
Oh
won.
yeah.
I was like, I won. And it was the book that I listened to on audio. So um I'm going to
Oh,
be
perfect.
I'm going to be following up more because I want to win. I want I want you to do a giveaway for the Snowbound book, and I'm just putting it out there that you should pick my name. So
All right, I'll take that under advisement.
it's really it's not a giveaway. It's more like, hey, I really want that book. Are you going to sell that book so I can have it? Now,
Totally, totally.
are you doing now? Do you do signed books on your website or anything? If somebody wanted to purchase some, it's for gifts or anything like that.
I did an event last year where I did sell signed books, and I was thinking about trying to do it again this year, but with all the drama of the fire, and we
Yeah.
had a really crazy summer. We were moving from the island where we lived back to California. So I think I'm going to wait and maybe do something maybe this coming summer or next holiday season when I've got a little bit more space
Yeah, I
in
understand
my
that.
schedule. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will be sure to go by and get ebooks, and we will get our books on audio, and we will definitely be supporting you until we can get those book signed in our hands. I'm speaking for me. I keep saying we, but really me. I'm just talking about myself here. And but I wish you such success on the release of your next few books, and I hope that you have a fantastic writing year in 2018. And we're gonna have you back on the show
All
maybe in the
right.
summer.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful first experience, and I hope you have happy holidays and a great 2018 as well.
All right, thank you so much. Everybody,
All right.
thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Booking Around Town. Be sure that you are following us on Facebook at Booking Around Town, also following us on Instagram at Booking Around Town, and Twitter on Booking Around TWN. This episode will be available on iHeartRadio as well as TuneIn. It is available for download from iTunes and Google Play, and we are also on YouTube, so you can find us on the Booking Around Town channel as well as our website at www.theaudioflow.online. Thanks so much to my producer Danielle at Firefly Productions, as well as my assistant Rebecca. And until next time, everybody remember, keep booking.